Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon review for this evening's match review from the Blackburn game yesterday. We have gone live slightly earlier, of course, because of the FA Cup draw, and I forgot to change my internet over, Billy. So if you just go through a couple of comments, just 2 seconds while I get that changed over, bud.
Well, yeah, I think we've caught a few people unaware, so everyone's saying hello to each other, and there's not anyone with any kind of substance here, but Tom does have a couple of things that he's got to say. He said he got back in the house just at 3 o'clock after his trip to Ewood Park, and he said some good bits. Yes, there were, but the large part of it, we lacked cohesion and bite. We'll discuss that later. Second half, we were looking good, but hard from themselves allows them the equaliser, and we fell apart again. Not good enough. Well, I think
I'm back, buddy.
We're going to discuss that later. Cool.
Yeah, we certainly are. I mean, look, the after effects of last night are still well and truly in our veins. But look, at the end of the day, we're through to the next round, and we can't have asked much more than that. You know, the performance was shocking. We know that, which we'll come on to. But we look ahead to the draw first, and obviously this is the quarterfinal of the FA Cup. We haven't been here for quite some time. And it would be very nice if we get a home draw. I think, you know, as it hasn't been the case for quite some time having a home draw.
We're due one, aren't we? Let's be honest. We haven't been drawn at home. The last time we drawn at home was Man City, of course. So in the Carabao Cup. So even that wasn't great, but we got through it.
Which was an absolute age ago, of course. But listen. It's all about the next round, but obviously, you know, the lads are going to have to put that behind them for, you know, once this draw is made and we move on to Wolves at the weekend. But, you know, we will talk about, obviously, the match tonight. Stato is with us. Caught him out a little bit with going early. Stato normally expects me to come online about, 30 seconds before we start. But hey-ho, there we are.
Scott was busy.
Who's just changed that?
I did.
Great minds, Billy.
Billy's learning.
He certainly is. Anyway, before the draw kicks off, the usual applies tonight, guys. If you do enjoy the show, hit that like button. Keep those coming rolling in on the channel, of course. And if you are new, please do subscribe. Free to do so. Don't forget, though, to hit the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload any future videos, of course. And you can donate to the channel by hitting that super chat button underneath the live chat, which is the $sign. That will guarantee your comment to be read definitely on the show. And of course, you can become a member by hitting the join button just underneath the three of us if you'd like to become a member and support the channel that way. Right. Billy, how are we looking for the draw? Is anything happening yet? Or
well, ITV are just about to start their coverage of it. I think the draw is on both sides. However, it's not started on ITV just yet, but it's about to.
Well, I may as well ask you both. Who are you wanting?
Coventry.
At home.
Although it has got I'm split on it because if they do beat us, I'll never the bleeding end of it.
Yeah, you'll face a very difficult time, Billy.
Yeah.
You know, very, very difficult time with all your Coventry mates. I don't think you live that down for a while, to be quite honest with you. I think we're all favouring Coventry or even Leicester at home, really. I mean, Leicester aren't taking this competition seriously because we know that they made 9 changes last night and still beat Bournemouth with an absolute wonder strike, to be fair. So if it's not to be Coventry, guys, or Leicester, is it you know, can we see it being sort of Liverpool or Man City away?
Probably.
Yes, probably, yeah. Well, David Seaman's doing the draw.
No, is he? Oh,
so at least he can't pull Arsenal out.
Well, no, that's a good thing. I'm not. Is it just him doing the draw?
Just him on his own, so he's pulling both sides out. Yeah.
Oh dear me, dear me. Well, let us know in the chat who you guys want. I think I've seen a few Coventrys. That probably will be the case. I think for the majority of people.
Or Leicester. Yeah,
Leicester at home. I mean, we're due a home draw, aren't we, guys? I mean, Jesus Christ. It's like people have been trying to stop us all season. It's unbelievable. But yeah, a home draw would be nice. And listen, just one game away from Wembley, it's calling us, guys. It's calling us back to the sacred surface.
He's putting the balls into the pots.
Oh, here we go.
We are imminent. We are imminent.
Here we go.
He's giving
And
his
of course,
balls a good rummage.
we are number one, aren't we?
He's having his. We were number one.
Is he having a good rummage of those mucky balls?
And first ball out is the number 6, who is Wolves of Brighton.
Oh.
Home. Please not.
I don't really want Brighton away.
No.
Wolves, that matter. And it's number 7.
Oh, there you
God.
go. There you go.
Next, we got the number 5, who is Forest or Man United.
Here we go.
And they've been drawn at home to the number 4, who is Liverpool or Southampton.
Oh.
Central Man United, Liverpool.
Oh, tasty draw, that one. Tasty indeed.
Next out, we have the number 2, Chelsea or Leeds.
Oh.
Fuck's sake. Oh no, we don't want this one. We don't want this one.
No. And we've been that is at home to the number 3, who is Leicester. So we've got Man City, whether it's at King St James or the Etihad. It's of course he used to play for Man City, Seaman. So he'll want Man City at home, of course he will. But it's number. Fuck off! Away to Man City.
Oh, there you go. There you fucking go.
Of course it is. Rigged.
Absolute
disgrace.
Seaman loves it. He's fucking gleefully cheering it as well, the toss pot.
I'm sure he is. There you go.
Fuck off.
So we go to the Etihad in the next round, which means forget the FA Cup this year. Guys, it ain't happening. Let's be honest. There's no way we're going to go to the Etihad and get anything from that.
The last ball drawn out. So read that what you will. That's towards the trot now.
I don't know what to say, guys. I mean, listen, it was. We all said before the draw that it was going to be a Man City or Liverpool away. It always happens. And now to have to go to the Etihad, I mean, Jesus Christ, in the form we're in, and it doesn't seem like getting any better for Newcastle United, does it? So that is probably the FA Cup done and dusted for this season. I mean, how can you draw Man City twice, in the same cup? In different cup competitions in the same season.
Well, it'd be something if it was in the same cup, to be fair.
Well, absolutely, Billy. You know what I meant, you
sure they would if they could. They'd make it
they would, yeah.
But that's outrageous. When you line them next to each other, we've had City, Man United, Chelsea, we've had City again in the FA Cup. Can we not just get a little cheeky run? I know we did okay last year. I know we had Bournemouth, Leicester, Southampton. So okay, maybe last year was our good luck. I think we've used all of it up in one season to get to that final. I feel like for us to get to another final, we're going to have to wait a few years to build a super team because they're going to make us play everyone before we get there. We're going to have to play all the big boys before we can even get to a final again.
Well, Gillian says our lads need to step up. That's all. Well, that's all. Gillian is a hell of an ask. I mean, God, Jesus, it's not.
Time to concentrate on the league.
Look, I think we need to be honest with ourselves, and I mean, look, we did put them out the Carabao, but it's at the Etihad this time, and things will be very, very different, I think, and they'll remember that as well. Let's not forget, that we beat them in the Carabao, but you just never know. You never know who will be in the team. You never know how we'll be playing. I mean, I'm clutching, guys. I really am, but the way we're playing right now, I mean, we have to say. That there is absolutely. Vincent says, "Evening all. Are we staying for the draw? The draw's been made, mate. The draw's made, and we are away at Manchester City. So just to bring you up to date, Vincent, the draw has now taken place, and it could be the end of our cup run. But as I say, you never know. I mean, I'm dying to know who's confident in the chat, to be honest. But I mean, are you guys both of the assumption that that's it for the FA Cup, guys?
No, not yet. Not yet. It's a two-horse race, and any horse can win a two-horse race. And if you want to win the cup, you've got to beat the best at some point.
We've just got a horse with 2 legs, half a tail,
and asthma.
Oh dear God!
It's game of football. Anything could happen. But I mean, being realistic, obviously not, but you never know. It's football.
Don't make me call you Michael because it's normally Paul that does that.
I'm just trying to be positive.
Well, yeah, I mean, we get enough hammer on this channel for being negative, so why not? Why not? Andy K, thank you for your super chat, buddy. He says, I could cry. Going to be a City-Liverpool final. This is rigged.
Well, Liverpool might have to go to Old Trafford, so, you know, you'd still fancy them, of course you would, but it's not an easy tie for them.
Yeah.
And, of course, Man United ain't through yet, so even that's kind of moot.
Yeah, Key 88 says, you watch. It'll be a Friday night at 8 o'clock. It wouldn't surprise me at all. It would not surprise me at all. But, you know, we'll see. Right. There is a poll up tonight again. It's just gone up, guys, for your man of the match last night.
There's only one name on it.
Well, it was difficult for me to pick 4 names, but the 4 names have gone Dubravka, Bruno, Miley, and Almiron. That's the only ones I could pull out.
How is Gordon not in there?
Gordon didn't do anything, Alex.
I mean, apart from score the goal, but yeah.
Well, he scored the goal, but it was a tap-in. What else did he do?
And the pen. I mean, he scored a goal and a pen. So
I'm sorry.
Surely by default, that I'm not saying that gets him man of the match, but surely that gets him at least on the list.
No, the list is 4. The list is done. It's Dubravka, Bruno, Miley, or Almiron, and we're underway. So vote at the top, guys. We have another super chat in, and that's coming from Calvin. Thanks, Calvin. Only certains in life are taxes, death, and a tough away draw in the cup for Newcastle. Well, it seems to be that way. It seems to be that way. Right. Well, I mean, we're going to have to turn our attentions, obviously, now to the match last night. Alex, I know you were driving at the time the team sheet came out because you made a statement of having names read out to you rather than just a photo of the side.
Well, I know. Everybody kept sending me. I was driving, and everybody kept sending me photos of the lineup, which I can't get the voice chat to work while I'm driving. I needed you to type it out for me.
Yeah, very, very specific he was with that as well, and very forceful in our group chat. What were your feelings when you saw the team, though, Alex?
I mean, it was as expected. We did expect Isak and Willock to start, to be fair. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was smart to bring in Lascelles and Byrne against. They got a lot of big lads, a bit more umph, but we'd got reasonable pace with Willock back in the midfield. I was okay with it, to be fair. Especially, I think Barnes deserved a start and a shout. I thought he had a shocking game, but we'll get onto that, I'm sure. But I was pretty optimistic with the team sheet. I thought obviously Karius was a bit unlucky to not be involved, but in hindsight, we won because of Dubravka, so I can't really be too upset about that, as I'm sure we all feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fine. But I would like to point out, by the way, for the people criticising the communication, Dubravka didn't have very good communication with the centre halves either, because the amount of times they let that ball roll in front of him and nobody wanted it was horrific. But anyway, Dubs was amazing.
That was an awful moment. Hayden says, gutted that we lost last night, but nothing but proud of our team. It was a great cup game with both teams having chances. In my opinion, we were better in normal time, but you dominated extra time. Would have loved that draw. Yeah, I mean, look, for a Blackburn fan, I take it you're a Blackburn fan, Hayden. You guys deserve an awful lot of credit. I mean, a massive amount of credit, because you know, where Blackburn are in the championship at the minute, not playing too well. Things haven't been going well, obviously, off the pitch with the owners and things like that. But you put in a monumental effort last night. We were rubbish. There's no other word for it. We were terrible. But Blackburn themselves deserve to come out of the game with an awful lot of credit. And we said that last night, Billy, didn't we, after the game? You know, they put in a hell of a spirited effort. I do believe they deserve to win it over the 90 minutes. We played slightly better in the first half of extra time, but the second half of extra time could have gone either way.
Yeah, I agree. I think Blackburn would have been worthy winners last night. And I think on chances, big chances created, certainly, especially in the 90 minutes. But they worked their socks off, didn't they, for the manager? The created stuff. They didn't look like a side that was 16th in the championship. Absolutely not. They looked a much better side than that, and I think they'll end up a lot higher up the table if they perform like that week in, week out.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Blackburn fans can be proud of their performance last night, and they were unfortunate not to go through, I've got to say.
King Hoddle says 0 positives other than Dubravka. Outplayed for large swaths of the game by a struggling championship team. Howe is currently underperforming. I mean, look, we can say all we want about Eddie Howe, Alex, but the fact of the matter is, that team that he put out last night should have been well good enough to beat Blackburn. I mean, there's players out there at the minute just not performing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the jury's out. I'm quite happy to give him till the end of the season, regardless of everything. I think that's a given. I think we're just getting the right players back from injury, like Willock, athletic midfielders, but it still didn't quite work. Lascelles was okay, but obviously made that mistake for the goal. Harvey Barnes had an absolute nightmare. Link-up play wasn't particularly there. You would imagine for people that train together every day, we'd be able to find 3 or 4 passes. But yeah, I think the jury's out. I think you've just got to wait until the rest of these injuries come back. Let him get back into it and see if he can steady the ship and get us playing a bit more aggressive and controlling football. You've got to allow him that, surely. And I think he will. So.
Well, Paul Tully makes an interesting point there, saying Willock did nothing, sadly. People getting at Barnes, who's been out for months and not sharp. Willock, not nothing. Well, I thought Willock gave us a little bit better, Paul, to be honest. Willock got the ball and drove at them. Willock was his usual self. He was trying to get down the middle, trying to get down the left. Barnes, for me, did a couple of good things, a couple of shots.
Barnes has had 3 weeks. Willock's had 3 days.
Like 3 days. Christ, yeah, there's a big difference in their fitness levels at the minute. And, I was really disappointed with Harvey Barnes last night, to be honest. I thought he should have done a lot better than he did. Peter Proudlaw, thank you for your super chat, mate. Longstaff lazy again, says Peter. I don't think he was lazy. I just think he was crap.
I think he was both.
Well, fair enough. I don't think he should have been. I mean, Billy, you made a point of this. I mean, the preparation for the penalties at the end of the game obviously took Miley off and brought on Anderson because Anderson was going to take a penalty. But why wasn't it Longstaff? Because if anyone, Miley looked like he could do something last night and help to win the game in extra time.
Yeah, Miley was very bright, wasn't he, when he was on? And we assumed that if he was taking Miley off, it was because Longstaff would have been taking a penalty. But out of the 5, he wasn't, unless he was going to be 6th in the list or 7th or whatever, or he wanted to avoid the pressure on a 17-year-old shoulders of taking a penalty. But it was an odd substitution, and I don't understand why he didn't bring Rich on either. He could have brought, if that's the case, he could have brought Rich on for Elmer one.
Rich is a penalty taker, yeah. But
can I just say something about, because I need to correct Paul Tully on stats and just general stuff. So Barnes drove at them and won 4 or 5 fouls. No, he didn't. He won 1 foul for our team. He completed 0 dribbles. He missed a big chance. He missed the penalty. He won 1 duel out of 6 ground, which is awful. So he had 6 accurate passes. It was woeful. Absolutely shocking. And he's actually our lowest rated player at 5.9 on SofaScore. It was abysmal. So not having it. He was shocking.
Yeah. Anthony Barnes says that's Newcastle's season end, but looking forward to Nagelsmann being the next manager of Newcastle United for next season. Yeah, he's been heavily linked in the press today, Nagelsmann.
That's already been completely downplayed by all the journalists around the club.
I mean, you'll get this now, though. You will get it. Alex Cesar, so we like Burn now again after the Arsenal shit show.
Not really.
No,
I don't think he was that great last night.
None of them were great last night. JT Toon says absolutely no positives to take from last night whatsoever for me. Dubravka was brilliant, and out of all the saves he made, the most important one was probably Eddie's job. Wow. That's an interesting quote. I mean, look, if he'd lost last night, Billy, he would have been in trouble. He would have been massively under pressure. I'm not saying he would have lost his job, but the pressure would be right on top of him then.
I think the draw to Man City away is also going to put him under pressure, because I think that while we're still in the cup, and I think the pressure goes. But as soon as we get knocked out of it, everything then goes into the league. And if we don't perform the league, I think he's under real pressure.
Yep. Novik says we all knew who we were going to get long before the draw. Mama Toon Stato is with us. I gave Stato the team sheet. I vote for Miggy because I love his smile. Oh, dear. Jeanette's trying to rub me up the wrong way tonight. There's no doubt about it with that comment. Yes, we were last ball out again. Must have been extra cold. Yeah. Ian Skinner says, I can hear the players booking their summer holidays already. Paul says, if Blackburn put their chances away, another story. Yes, can't argue with that. Simon Muller, thank you for your super chat. Can we beat Wolves on Saturday? Well, we'll talk about that tomorrow night when we do the preview for the game. Blackburn definitely should have put the game away. I mean, there could have been 2 up at half time. Schmodix missed 2 glorious opportunities. There was then the shot across goal, which Dubravka parried away. So there's 3 that possibly could have scored in the first half. And we did get lucky, Billy. We've got to be honest and say that we got lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Martin Dubravka's had the game of his life, hasn't he, last night? And just because of him alone, we're in the next round of the cup, not for any kind of tactical masterclass or superb play. They've matched us for effort. They matched us for quality at the times. And if it wasn't for Martin Dubravka, we wouldn't be in the cup next round. It's simple as that.
I mean, Alex, you mentioned it before. We were sort of pushing for Karius to play as fans because we thought he did nothing wrong to be dropped against Arsenal, of course. But I think Dubravka came back in with a slight point to prove, and boy, did he prove it. I'm still not convinced by the way of him coming off his line. I'm still not convinced, that everything's right that way. But the shot stop and coming to collect crosses last night, it all came together for him last night.
Yeah, well, we know he's got that. We know he's a great keeper. He just doesn't do the sweep a bit as well as Nick Pope can do. And Karius is kind of somewhere in the middle. Karius is a middle ground between both of the keepers. So it just depends what you want. Dubravka's slightly better at shot stopping, more experienced, so you're getting a lot of benefits from Dubravka, but then at the same time, he can't really do the rushing off the line stuff. So it's half, it just is what it is. And the game suited Dubravka to a point last night. And yeah, it was fine. And I'm getting really bored of people challenging the stats now, right? It's who scored, FOTMob, SofaScore. Take it up with them. Take it up with Opta. It's nothing to do with me. If you don't like the stats, you're shouting at the wind, basically.
Well, I don't know why people were saying Harvey Barnes. He was rubbish. Well, there's something for you, Stato. Niall says, I think we were so bad. We made Blackburn look decent. Barnes is such a downgrade on Maxi so far.
There's a rant in there. It's not coming out yet. I feel like Barnes deserves the benefit of the doubt. It was a game. I'm happy to give him a proper full season. Let him get fit again. Let him start playing. Give him the opportunity to show that he's worth it. However, yes, there is really. It hurts because I felt like Maxi could have given us something, but we're not going there. We trust Barnes. We've got Barnes. He's who we've got now, and I think he'll come good. So,
yeah. Paul Tully says, what was with Trippier? Seemed like he was trying too hard. Corners weren't bad, but seemed off to me. You thought he got wound up by the fans, Billy, with him being a former Burnley player. But as a the teams that Trippier's played for, Billy, and the intensive atmospheres that he's been in, surely that wouldn't bother him.
I can't think of anything else. I mean, he was well off last night. I thought his passing, some of his set pieces were okay.
I thought his corners were really good.
Yeah, but I mean that free kick he had that was kind of inside the corner. Like a short corner, if you like, in hockey. He just whacked it as hard as he could. It flew out for a goal kick. Yeah, he just didn't seem at it. He looked preoccupied with the crowd. He kept turning around to them and saying stuff and not really concentrating. Yeah, and as you just said, there's an international football that should be happening.
Right, it's not because of Barnsley. I thought it's because he was born in Bury, which is in Lancashire.
He played for Burnley.
He played for Burnley,
and that, I guess,
yeah.
He played for a lot of teams.
Mike says, is some of the players not liking Eddie's tactics now and are not playing at their best for him? What's your thoughts, lads? Well, there was a few comments came in last night saying that some of the players don't seem to be at it. And is it because that they're not happy with the manager? But I can't see that. I can't see that at all. I don't know what you guys think, but I don't think there's any problem between manager and players at the minute. I just think we're on a bad run of form.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of individual errors that have cost us points. I mean, if you think back at the bigger picture in the last 8 weeks, we've lost points and we got knocked out of the Carabao Cup because of Trippier on that little run of mistakes. The midfield stepping up when they shouldn't step. I'm sure Howe has coached them to not do that. It's just about in-game decision making, which is you can't buy that. You can buy that. That's the point. Is they're all injured. And there's more to it. There's people like Jamal Lascelles making the mistake he did last night. Simple thing. Dubravka slipping, conceding a goal. all of these things, the manager can't do anything about that at all. All he did, like when he came in originally, when we were in that relegation fight, do you know what he did to fix it, to stop the rot? He just took the players out of the team that were making all the mistakes. He went, right, you and you are making all the mistakes, off you pop. That's what he did. And I know that sounds really harsh, but he can't do it right now because of the injuries. We can't rotate. But as soon as these lads are back, Anderson, Willock, Target, as soon as we've got a few more options, the 2 or 3 people that are consistently putting in lower performances and making mistakes, off you pop, on the bench.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm not confident that he does that, Alex. That's the thing. I'm not convinced he does that.
He will do if he starts to if we start to get into a bit of a poor, like there'll be a point where he has to.
He could have done that with Longstaff last night, and he didn't. You know,
maybe not. Like maybe Anderson wasn't ready at that point. He might.
Well, I mean, maybe, but I
just it's the conceding the same goal week in, week out that we have been doing, and didn't do a lot to correct that at the time. We haven't seen it for a couple of games, but you know, Saturday against Pedro Neto, say it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, look, I agree that it'll be interesting when he gets, Anderson back fully fit again. But let's be honest, guys, there's nobody else coming back probably before the end of the season or a couple of games before.
People are disagreeing with me about things I've not even said. I don't agree with Alex about his subs. I haven't mentioned any subs. What are you talking about? People are like
No, I think he's saying, Alex, I don't agree with Eddie Howe's subs. I don't think they're having a dig at you. I think he's saying,
with Eddie Howe's subs. Okay, I just think people I don't
agree with Alex. Yeah.
Guys, we won the game.
Chill. Yeah, Alex, I know we won the game, but come on, mate.
It wasn't great. We still won the game.
It was absolutely horseshit. Gallagher Brown, thank you for being a member for 19 months. And he says Barnes, Arrow, Maxi, and a steak next to it. Connor, thank you for your super chat. If we somehow get past City, I bet Liverpool in the semis. I think Eddie has till November to get it right. Full summer to spend, and of course Sandro back. Possibly. But look, I mean, I'm just disappointed with the whole thing. So, I mean, we said in the first 20 minutes, Billy, despite the possession, something still didn't feel quite right about the way we were playing. We were getting flustered when we got to the final third. Nothing was happening. You know, he then puts Isak out on the left and Gordon through the middle for the last 10 minutes of the first half. It just seems like panic stations are there.
Something that just isn't clicking, is it? I mean, Bruno was really, really good in the first 10 minutes, and then we started kicking it long and bypassing him. I didn't understand it. And it weren't just good long balls either. It was balls straight to touch half the time. But yeah, there's something just not right at the minute, and that's down to a lot of players being injured. But they've had plenty of time to get used to playing with each other. You know, Willock coming in offers us something different. We didn't give him the ball enough. We didn't give Gordon the ball enough. And these are real threats. We kept going down that right-hand side, and that's where Trippier wasn't right. Murphy was god-awful as well. Longstaff wasn't great. So we kept using the wrong side of the pitch when all the threats were on the other side. Didn't make a lot of sense to me.
James says, I think it was shameful that they still took a team photo at the end. I can see the pros and the cons against the photo yesterday. Obviously, they won, and in the next round, they like taking a photo after every victory, whether it be in extra time or penalties or in the 90 minutes. So I can't see a reason why they did that. On the flip side, I quite agree. I don't think they should have, after that performance, it was a little strange. Did anybody see Lewis Hall's face in that photo, by the way?
I've not even seen the photo.
I don't know. A few people saying it's like a forced smile. I think that's a stretch. It's hard. You can't tell what he's actually feeling.
I know how I'd feel if I was him at the minute, to be honest. Phillips is still 100% behind Eddie. However, we had better have a good start to the season or he's in trouble. Dubravka saved Eddie last night. Simon says, whatever happens this season, next one will be massive for Eddie Howe. After a couple of seasons, PIF will start expecting results. Clone Lad says we should sign Schmodix. Would be decent squad player. Has a touch of Bellamy about him. I don't know. He seems a little bit raw to me. I don't know how old he is, Schmodix, but
28.
Yeah, I don't think that's the kind of player that even for squad that we should be signing. We need a lot higher than Schmodix, to be honest. But you know what? He put in a performance for Blackburn last night. He put himself about. He caused all sorts of trouble for us. I thought Gallagher was excellent for them in the first half. Really gave Fabian Schär a rough time. But you know what? When we're talking about defenders, Jamal Lascelles for me had a brilliant game last night, and I was gutted for him when he made that mistake, because I've watched that 2 or 3 times today, and I think Jamal's he gets himself confused whether to volley it away, if it's going to drop quick enough, or head it. And by the time he makes his decision, the ball's gone. And I really feel for him, because I thought he was really strong, Alex, last night.
Yeah, he was good, but again, it's mistakes from somebody that used to make a lot of mistakes. So I don't want to be too harsh on him, because I think he's made massive improvements in his game. He's more athletic. He's a bit more nimble. His passing's better. He's more confident on the ball. He's more press resistant than he used to be. He's definitely improved a load of aspects of his game. So I just remember a time where it was 6 or 7 weeks in a row, mistake. That's still in my head. And when he's made that one, obviously I'm trying to be really, really neutral and fair on it, but it does make me wonder. But hopefully we can just put it down to a one-off.
I mean, it was a mistake that could have been cleaned up afterwards. The defence didn't do themselves any
favours.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a mistake immediately. It wasn't an error leading to a goal.
Oh, it was a horrible goal.
2, 3, 4 opportunities to sort that out after that. So, because there's a lot of expectation that he's probably going to get a contract extension. So I'd still be fine with that. I think he should stay around.
I mean, the save from Dubravka was outstanding under the bar, and it was just our luck really where the ball bounced. Stewmu's going to wind some people up with this comment. So much negativity, just as fickle and entitled as other fan bases. Howe has done wonders since coming in, and first rough patch, and people saying get rid. Short memories.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is why we need to give him the option to try and turn it around. You've got to let him try and sort this out. That's really important. We know if he can. And then if we get to the end of the season and he's not managed to iron any of this out, then we can have that conversation.
Yeah.
But I think he's earned that to try and fix this.
Well, listen, I'm not in the Eddie Howe out campaign, despite many people thinking I am. I'm certainly not. But I will criticise him if I don't think, as a fan, he has done a good enough job. But he's got to get better. He's got to improve this. And how long is this rough patch going to go on for? You know, he's saying the first rough patch. This has been a rough patch since before Christmas. Let's not forget that. We ain't played well since... What, November?
Yeah, but the injuries do come hand in hand with that.
Yes, I agree with that.
So let's let him get some players back.
People can look at the way he's managed that as well. But I agree with you, Alex. I think he needs time. I think I think he will turn it round. I really do. But you've got to, people are starting to slide down the other side of the bank now, as if to say some of his decisions, playing his favourites, etc. The likes of Longstaff. I mean, I cannot understand how he got 120 minutes last night. I can't. He's awful. He's in awful form at the minute.
I've got a theory about Longstaff.
Go on then.
I don't think he's fit. I honestly don't think he's fit. Do you remember against Bournemouth when he went down with his ankle and he was out for a few weeks?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think his ankle's right. Every time he gets touched anywhere near his ankle, he's rolled on the floor. I just don't think he's fit. And we know he's a good player. We've seen it. It's not a case of, it's a class's permanent form, or class's temporary form, or whatever it is, the form thing. He's drastically out of form. Whether that's down to
form is temporary, class is permanent. I think
that's
is what you meant to say, Billy. Yeah,
that's the one. We've seen him play well for a good period of time. He did it under Rafa. Virtually all of last season, he was fantastic.
Well, there was like a 6-week period at the beginning of this season where he looked really good.
Again, and then there's Bournemouth injury, and since then, every time he gets touched near his ankle, he's screaming. You saw that's not 2 or 3 occasions. One was a good tackle, which was close to his ankle. He was screaming on the floor. I don't think he's confident in his ankle. I don't think he's confident as a player because of that.
It's really difficult to explain.
Yeah, but the thing is, guys, there could be players out there playing with injuries week in, week out because of what's gone on this season. Players are coming back from long-term injuries, and they need to get up to speed very, very quickly. And it's we all know that's whatever walk of life you're in, that is not easy to do. When you've been away from something for a long time and you first come back to it, whether it be football or anything, it takes a while to get back into the swing of things. And of course, we as football fans, we see players coming back and we expect them to be as good as they were before they got injured. And a perfect example of that is Sven Botman. Now, there's clearly a problem with Sven Botman. That knee is clearly not as recovered as it should be, because he hasn't looked as good since he's come back from injury. And then he's not even in the squad last night because of a flare-up on it. Now, I don't think that the whole Botman thing has been a shit show for me, Billy, because of playing him when he was injured.
Yeah, well, he kind of played well as well his first couple of games, didn't he? But, as the weeks have gone on, he's kind of dropped off. Just doesn't look the same player now. And I think he's playing another one, like Longstaff, with an injury, definitely with an injury. He was rested last night for him to play Saturday. Maybe be fine Saturday, but again, a week after that, will he be bad again? He clearly needs an operation, but we can't afford for him to have one. It's as simple as that for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long he'd be out for if he does have the operation. I would expect it'll be several months, I guess, with an ACL operation. I don't know of any.
I think that's going to be a couple of 2 or 3 months. If it's not that serious, he can play on it. I don't think it's not torn, is it, by any shadow of the imagination? I think it's just a...
Yeah, well, the thing is, Billy, I think we discussed this last night, though. If he's got to have an operation, is it worth him having the operation now so that he's fit to come back in pre-season, ready to go? Or we delay it till the summer where he's not quite going to get a full pre-season in it. It's a vicious circle, really, isn't it? Because you've got to make a decision on him. But I mean, what do you think, Alex?
Is this Longstaff we're still talking about?
Botman.
Oh, Botman specifically. Okay. You think all of this is down to the injury, potentially?
I don't think he's looked right, and certainly hasn't looked very confident when he's been bringing the ball out either. He just doesn't look to have the same kind of spark.
Well, I agree, but I don't think we know enough medically about the situation within the club to make either Billy's claim or your claim. It's definitely something that might be true.
We're only speaking as fans what we see on the pitch.
No, 100%.
I'm not saying what's going on behind the scenes.
I think it's far too much of a hypothetical for me personally to add an opinion onto it. I don't. It's a complete shot in the dark, in my opinion. It might be right. It might be confidence. It might be, is there the underlying injury that needs permanently fixing? It could be a few things. Absolutely. All of it could be right. But I'm not going to put my name on that just because I'm not 100% convinced by any of it. So I'm not sure.
The problem that I see is, I don't know, some of the players that we're expecting to come back, we're looking forward to Eddie having the full side, but some of these players that are coming back hadn't done it before they got injured. I mean, we're talking about Matt Targett, who's been involved very, very little in the setup before he got injured, of course, which was the Carabao Cup game. So Matt Targett hasn't been involved at all, very much. This squad that we've got now is probably the squad, Billy, that we're going to have now till pretty much the end of the season. Maybe, or we get Joe Linton and Wilson back for a couple of games, or Nick Pope, whatever it is. But the majority of the season now, this squad is what we've got to carry us forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the minutes that Willett gets his legs, so that'll help us. I think Anderson coming back also helps us. I think the problem mainly has been the midfield. The key to it all is keeping Isak fit and getting Isak into some kind of form once his fitness returns properly. That's the key to it all for me. I think we're okay in midfield now. I think we can get by with Longstaff, Miley, Willock, Anderson, Bruno, if I'm perfectly honest. But further up the pitch, it's keeping Isak fit. That's the big one. If Isak was to go down for, a 6-week injury, whatever, I think we've had it in terms of Europe.
I think Europe, the FA Cup is a way into Europe, obviously. But the fact of the matter is, we're not really playing well enough to do anything at the minute, and that's where we've got to improve. I mean, going into training for the rest of this week, Alex, ahead of the Wolves game, what does Eddie Howe say? What does he say to the players after last night? Does he bollock them? Does he try and put an arm around them? Is he in a catch-22 situation where anything he does won't be right?
I think it's got to be very coordinated, and it needs to be analysed, which is often how he explains it in his post-match press conferences. They need to sit down as a team and figure out. They need to watch every moment that went wrong and why it went wrong. Who's stepping up when they shouldn't? Who's not tracking? Who's left space? Or was it? Because there'll be situations where maybe they've committed to something and maybe it was just an individual error with a pass. That's hard to, you can't fix that. That's just, okay, just try not to mess your pass up next time. But general sort of stepping up and tracking and positioning, there are things that they can improve on. And that's what they'll be analysing midweek. They'll be looking at how Wolves play. They'll be looking at what they did wrong against Blackburn. They'll be looking at trying to fine tune stuff. It's not like, they know this whole driving at Dan Burn. They know the space in midfield. They're not stupid. They're all coaches. They're all licensed coaches that have been in the game for a long time. They know that that's a thing. They're coming up with ideas. They're going through it in training. The players, they're not idiots. It's just being able to action it on the pitch for a continuous 90 minutes against top tier opposition. Fine. Blackburn isn't top tier opposition, but it's still a reasonable opposition. And yeah, it's about implementing it. Because if you play well for 85 minutes, but in the 5 other minutes you step up 2 or 3 times wrong and incorrectly, like Miley or Longstaff sometimes do, all of a sudden it looks like a terrible performance because they're in on Dan Burn and it all goes wrong. It's just about analysing it and fixing it. And now we've got some personnel back that can help. We'll look a bit better going forward with Isak. Willock's more athletic. His recovery runs are going to help a little bit more once he gets some minutes in his legs. They're not just going to sit there and go, it's not Steve Bruce. They're not just going to go play ball. Like, they're going to actually try and fix things.
This Mr. Trigger TV's been putting in ridiculous comments all night, and he's obviously been triggered again. Yes, we did win, but can you honestly say you're proud of that performance last night? I mean, anybody with eyes in the head that can see knew we didn't deserve to win that game. We did, yes, and we're mighty chuffed about it. Absolutely. But there is problems, and there's been problems for weeks. Yes, Billy?
Chelsea nil, Leeds 1.
It doesn't matter anymore. We're not going through any further, are we? So let's be honest. Anyway, it is time for the player ratings now. So get your player ratings in the chat and see if you agree with us. Do we really need to go around the table for Dubravka?
I wouldn't have thought so.
I mean, you can have a 10 just for saving 2 penalties in a shootout.
Yeah. So it's 10s all round for Martin Dubravka. Right. Kieran Trippier.
Can I just add, he was actually really close to 2 others as well.
He was, yeah, very, very close.
Way every time, didn't he?
He did. Billy, Kieran Trippier.
Really sorry. What before we go on to Trippier, did you notice that the winning penalty? So for people saying I didn't watch the game or go watch the game, the winning penalty that we saved, right? I think he was off his line too early. I think if that's in the Prem, that gets VAR'd and they retake that. Go watch that last pen back.
I think there's a couple actually, Alex.
Line.
The Blackburn keeper was off his line for a couple of them as well. So
well, our one that Dub saved for the win, he was off his line before. Like, you're not supposed to do that technically. So if there was VAR, a lot of those pens would have been retaken.
Yep, interesting. Trippier, Billy.
Yeah, just not quite himself last night. Whether it's because he's not got the captain's armband anymore, he didn't seem to be as forceful leadership wise, if you like. But he was on that side with Murphy in front of him and Longstaff just inside him, so he didn't have much in front of him. To be fair, I'm going to give him a 5.
Yeah, I'm going with a 5 as well. I thought there was a couple of times where he put us in trouble with the second half with just misplaced passes again from the right back position. Alex.
I'm going to go with the lower. I'm going to go with a 3. I thought that was his worst performance in the black and white shirt ever. I appreciate there were games where he made those mistakes, but he actually played well in the other bits of those games, whereas this was just the whole game. I've never seen him like that. He couldn't handle the booing. He was passing backwards and sideways. Anytime it was forwards, it was over hit, under hit. It wasn't getting past the man. He struggled when he came central. He struggled when he went wide.
Yeah.
It was obviously Murphy being the different player there. Maybe I think Billy mentioned that, something to do with it, possibly. But I was a 3. But hopefully it's a one-off.
Yeah, we'll move across to Dan Burn now at left back. Alex.
I'll give him a 7. I thought largely he wasn't too bad. I thought he was important in set pieces. He was important against their height. And a couple of times where they ran at him, again, it was because the midfield stepped up and they weren't meant to step up. So, and especially because Willock's quite used to just going on his bike and just going for a little, he likes to wander off. So there's a big hole again. I wasn't too disappointed with Dan Burns' performance. He wasn't the issue yesterday.
No.
Although we know he's not great at ball retention and passing it around, but we just know that anyway. So
I've given him a 6, but for very similar reasons to you, Alex. I don't think he was to blame last night. I thought he did okay at left back. Nothing out of this world, but did his job, and certainly wasn't the reason for the performance all around. Billy,
I'll give him a 6 as well. I thought he was partially at fault for the goal. I thought he ran across Share's cover and left the man on his own at the back post. So 6.
Interesting. Abs says, while it was a bad performance, the disrespect shown to Howe is repugnant and doesn't say much for some of our fans. Ike for Prime Minister says, here, Alex. He's a bloody liability, like a naughty boy in the schoolyard making the rules because it's his ball. I'm not sure who he's talking about there.
You're talking about Dan Burn?
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, people run at Dan Burn if there's a hole for people to run at Dan Burn. I'm
not sure whether he's talking about Trippier or not. I'm not sure. I don't know because
maybe.
He didn't get because he wasn't captain. He sort of fell off in the huff.
On Dan Burn, he actually got a 7.3. He won 5 out of 5 aerial duels, which is why he played. He won for the height because they'd got Gallagher and players like that. We needed a bit more height, and they'd got a couple of tall centre halves. They've got Gallagher. It was okay statistically. A couple of key passes. He only lost 1 duel all game. He was okay. He wasn't terrible. He played the whole match as well. So
yeah. Gallagher Brown, thank you for your super chat. He says next 3 games could see the season ignited or over. Wolves and Chelsea, who are fighting for 10th. Then City in the Cup, season done or game on by the 17th of March. Interesting. Right, let's move into the middle. Fabian Schär. Oh, dear. I'm going to go with a 4 for Fabian Schär. He tried with his passing again. He got some of them right, but just the consistency's not there from him at the minute. And he just looks like he's got that lazy Fabian head on, that you just want to give a shake and say you're 3 million times better than what you're showing. He got a lot of the ball, obviously bringing it out, but he was bringing it out slowly, but that's not necessarily his fault. There was not much movement in front of him, but a 4 for me. Billy?
Yeah, a lot of aimless long balls first half, especially, and that handball he got away with. So I would have given.
What was that handball, by the way? He just went like that.
Well, he knew he'd been beaten, didn't he? And he just tried to handle the ball. I mean, how he didn't get booked for it, I'll never know.
When they CGI in a television program and they do that, and then the words come across the screen. He did that just above his own head. How was that not?
He did get away with it. I don't think he even got a free kick for it, which is amazing. But I would ordinarily give him a 4, but I'm going to give him an extra couple of points for that penalty because it was an absolute beauty of a penalty, wasn't it?
Yeah. So having said that, if the goalkeeper went the right way, we'd have all been screaming. But he waited, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a brilliant penalty. So I'm going to give him 6.
Okay. Alex?
I'll give him a 5.
Okay.
I think that's a bit harsh, but do you want to take a guess at how many long balls he tried?
Oh, about 15?
24.
Well, yeah, there you go.
24 long balls.
I mean, that doesn't really say much for us, does it, really? It's not
13 accurate, but
Chelsea's equalised.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'll give him a 5. I mean, he was all right, but again, I feel like it's always harsh downgrading centre halves because their job isn't to be creative. Generally, their first job is to defend. But it's just become an expectation of Fabian, isn't it? To try and ping 2 or 3 dangerous long balls a game that will get us in for shots. Just didn't really happen at all.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a shame considering he's had he's played the entire match. He's had 130 touches of the ball. You'd expect him to ping 1 decent pass considering the quality he's got. Yeah, I'll give him a 5. He's had better days, but absolutely incredible penalty.
Yeah. Hayden, the Blackburn fan says, to provide balance, the penalty that Barnes missed, our keeper Pears was off the line. Yeah.
Thank you for your
I think
honesty.
it would have been very interesting had VAR been there to.
Can we get more opposition fans like Hayden? He's like really balanced. That's what we need more.
Yeah,
of.
I'll tell you what, if Blackburn had gone through, it would have been down to Pears because he had as good a game as Dubravka did, to be fair to him.
Oh, that double save was awesome. I still don't know what the hell Sean was doing falling backwards to shoot the ball, but I mean,
Blackburn played like a
incredible
challenging for playoffs, really, and they look
well.
fine.
Eustace hasn't been there long, has he? So he might be turning things around there if they start playing to his way of.
They've got interesting personnel. They've got high athleticism, some nippy players. There was a bit of quality in there. The goalkeeper seems solid. They've got a reasonable base to work off. I like their team.
Yeah. Well, let's see what Eustace does with them. Right, we'll move across to Lascelles, Billy.
We obviously got to mark him down for that mistake for the goal. But apart from that, I thought he played pretty well. I'll give him a 6 as well.
Yeah, I'm going with a 6. It would have been higher, but obviously you've got to mark him down for the mistake. But I thought, at times his heading was fabulous. Just coming up and really owning it and getting his head on everything. But it was a real shame because I thought he was very good up to that point. And to be fair, he was good after it. He defended really well after that as well. So, credit to him for keeping his head up. So there we go. Alex?
6 as well. It would have been higher if it wasn't for the mistake. But yeah, aerial duels were insane. 5 out of 6. Gallagher's enormous. 6'4", and Lascelles was on him. Just won everything in the air. He was an absolute tank. Passing was really tidy as well. 89 out of 105 passes, 85% passing accuracy, considering he was on the entire match. Nice and solid, considering a few other people were a bit shaky in possession. Yeah. It's just the mistake that's done him there. Generally, if it wasn't for the mistake, I'd have probably given him maybe a 7. Could have even been persuaded to do a bit higher if he'd have done a bit better in offensive set pieces.
Anthony's just hit the bar for Manchester United, says Julie. So interesting. Right into the midfield, and we'll start with Bruno. Alex.
Difficult one to mark, really. I'm just going to go with a flat 7 and just be a complete cop out and sit on the fence because, I mean, he was fine. 11 out of 17 ground duels, solid. 6 tackles. He got us 4 free kicks. He was fairly solid passing. Just creatively though, quite a lot of dinks over the top that were mistimed, mishit.
Yeah,
too hard and they would run out. But obviously, he was so important to keeping us ticking over and at least get it. I think if we'd have swapped Bruno for a different midfielder, we'd have just had none of the ball. We'd have had no game control. He's that important for us.
Yeah.
So I'll give him a 7.
I've gone with a 6, but for the same reasons. But I thought,
and he scored a pen. He's a pretty emotional guy.
Absolutely, so. Yeah. But the passing just wasn't quite right. He put a few brilliant ones in, and then the simple little balls that he normally is so good at. He was overhitting them, but I agree. I think if Bruno wasn't there last night, we are completely overrun. Billy?
Yeah, I'll give him a 7. He kind of went in and out of the game. He started the game really well, started the second half really well.
Yeah.
But then for some reason, Fabian Schär started bypassing him. So, but also some good tackles put in. You could tell it wasn't a league game and he wasn't.
Should have been booked in the second half.
Probably should have been booked, but he wasn't scared to put a foot in, was he? And at least he did. Because not many did, so I'll give him.
Kind of need to see that in the Premier League as well, though. Now, get back to how we know Bruno likes to get stuck in and play the game. Okay, we'll move on to Joe Willock. Billy,
promising signs from him. Gives us something that no one else gives us with his speed and his aggression, going forward with the ball. But obviously he's not match fit, nowhere near it. You've got to mark him on last night's match. I'll give him a 6.
6 for me as well. Promising signs though, and that's what I'm excited about to see Willock back. I just love the way he picks the ball up and he runs at the defence. It's what we've missed for so long. When we don't have him or Joe Linton, we kind of lack that. So 6 for me. Alex?
I'm going to give him a lot lower than that. I'm going to give him a 3, but it was based on what you've said because he's not match fit. Which is not his fault entirely at all. but it was, he tried 4 dribbles, none of them successful, ran into a lot of traffic, 1 out of 8 ground duels. Again, it was tricky. They were sat with sort of 2 banks of 5 at one point. Hard to get through. So I'm going to say 3, but it's not entirely on him. He's not match fit. It's not the right game for him. You're not driving into space. He's not got that. He's not playing with Joe Linton, and it's a very different kind of. He's coming back into a completely different environment. It's actually I saw an interesting fact yesterday. It's the first time this season he's played with Isak. He started a game with Isak. That's madness. That's madness. We're nearly in March. And we were starting at the beginning of the season. We were saying we were looking forward to Isak and Willock combinations. First time they've played together this year.
Yep.
But yeah, I'll give him a 3. But
I did see him cover for Dan Burn on a couple of occasions as well, which was something we haven't seen from the left-hand side of midfielder. Early doors.
Right. Well, we'll move on to Sean Longstaff now. It's a 1 from me. I'm just going to say now it's a 1. Billy?
Well, he was much better than what he was against Arsenal, but he felt any worse, to be fair. A fantastic 3-ball for Gordon to put him 1-on-1, which he missed. He did come into the game in certain patches, but it's still not good enough. I'm going to give him a 3.
Okay. Alex?
Wait a minute. I'm being criticised for giving Bruno a 7 when you two gave him a 6. Brian, you're talking to the wrong person here.
No, I'll give him a 7.
All right, well, Paul gave him a 6.
I'll give him a 6, yeah.
Sean, really tricky one to mark because...
Well, it's not, Alex. It really isn't.
6 out of 6 aerial duels. He won everything in the air. Couple of shots on target. He tried on offensive corners. I liked the desire in the offensive corners. Fairly kind of tidy-ish with the passing. For over the course of the whole game, it was 89%. Which isn't terrible. However, there was a lot of lethargic moments, a lot of not tracking, a lot of shadow tackles. It wasn't what we needed. I think he was trying a little bit more, but it was still maybe a 5. I think even that's generous. But I think purely because of the duels win rate and how much he gave us there, I'll give him the 5. But a little bit odd because he didn't take a pen, did he? So
no.
That's
why we couldn't understand why he brought Miley off and replaced. Why did
because Anderson's clearly a penalty taker.
Yeah, so take Longstaff off. Miley was a million times better than Longstaff last night when he came on. He was absolutely fantastic when he came on, and he takes him off. Crazy.
I don't think Longstaff was good. I thought he was marginally better than Arsenal and won a few duels, and it's nowhere near what we need him to be if he's going to stay in this team. I think if all of our midfielders was fit right now, I think he's the worst. If you go through the entire list of Willock, Bruno, Longstaff, Tonali, Joe Linton, Miley, and Anderson. Does that said Anderson 6, 7? We've got 6 or 7 midfielders. Longstaff's at the bottom of that list right now for me. He's a squad player, but he is at the bottom of that list of midfielders.
But that 3-ball for Gordon was a fantastic pass, I've got to say.
It was all right, yeah.
Yep. That's why I've given him a 1. Anyway, let's move on to the front 3. And we started on the left with Anthony Gordon. Alex?
Well, I mean, we're not allowed to rate him highly, are we? Because you didn't put him in the man of match conversation. So, I mean, he's the highest rated player on SofaScore. I will give him...
Outfield player, surely.
I'm going to give him an 8. I'm going to give him an 8 purely because he played 120 minutes. He scored a pen. He scored a goal in open play. He worked tirelessly. He should have had a goal anyway when he was one-on-one with a keeper. Deer in the headlights moment. He could have had another one. He was absolutely everywhere. He worked his socks off. 9 ground duels as well. Is considering he's a winger. 4 key passes in the match. I'm going to give him an 8. I love Anthony Gordon. I think he's just great. He's just amazing.
Oh, I think he's a breath of fresh air for us this season. I'm going to go with a 7. Similar reasons, Billy.
I think he gets punished because of the fact he's not on the right hand side. Everything goes down our right. If we had a left back who could go up the pitch in the same kind of way as Trippier does, I think we'd see much more of Gordon on the ball. I've got to be honest. He was starved of the ball on the left hand side. As soon as he came in the middle, when they took Isak off, he looked a much better player. Winning balls in the air, someone to slide us in. Missed a chance, but then scored one. Scored a penalty. I think 8's a fair score for him.
Okay.
What you just said, Billy, that whole clip, we've actually had that conversation before about Maxi.
Of course we have. Yeah, of course we have. I know we have.
We've literally had that exact same quote.
Ian Fleming, thank you for your super chat. He says, "Come on, guys." Lee Ryder in the Chronicle gave Longstaff a 7. Said he had a good game, so I give him a 3. Well, I never agree with Lee Ryder's player ratings ever, literally ever. But there you go. Right, other side now. Jacob Murphy. It didn't happen for Jacob last night. You can't blame him for effort. I'm going to go with a 4. Billy?
Well, I'm not going to give anything near that. I thought it was absolutely dog shit. Yeah, I thought it was awful. I'll give him a 2. He was dreadful last night. And, you know, he had a big chance last night to kind of cement that place for Saturday. There's no way on God's earth. No way on God's earth he starts Saturday. No way on God's earth. So 2 for me. Okay. Alex?
I think, I completely agree with Billy. I think that is the rating in itself. He's just cost him place. Words. Hang on a minute. Let me try that again. He has just cost himself a place. It's only words. He's literally robbed himself of a start on Saturday with that performance. Now Miggy's going to start. I reckon Murphy would have ended up starting had he done okay in that match. He's completely bottled it, unfortunately. It's a shame. I was really excited to see him back. That was... I'll give him a 3 as well. Same as what Trippier did. That right-hand side.
Is he trying to get back to full fitness though as well, do you think?
But, maybe we're being a bit harsh. I think Murphy's still trying to... But you've got to remember, it wasn't a... Maybe I'm being harsh here, but it's not a lower body injury.
Yeah, I know.
It was his shoulder. So I feel like he was still able to keep his energy levels up to a point. His mobility and flexibility in his legs and his movement. He was probably still allowed to do bits of ball work a lot earlier. If there's anybody who is a physio or somebody more professional,
I think it might have been difficult for him to kick a ball. To be honest, certainly early weeks, Alex.
Early weeks, yeah.
But it does affect the shoulder. Yeah, but it's very difficult to run with the shoulder, though, as well. Remember, it's not easy. It's
a quicker and easier rehab than players who have had sort of ankles, feet, knee issues.
He's played good games since he's come back from injury.
Yeah.
All right, Bruce Forsyth.
I'll go with a 3, but I think there are question marks about why.
Good game. when the penny dropped
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
Oh, Christ, when the penny dropped.
I went, Billy. I thought you would have been a bit quicker than that. Dear God, good game. Oh shit! It was just when you clicked on there, it was like, oh, you just lost it. He's gone. And then you looked at the camera and went, good game. Oh my God. Oh.
Somebody last week.
Oh, flipping it. Where are we up to? Have we all marked Murphy?
Isak.
Yeah,
right,
to Isak now.
We'll move on to Isak, Alex.
Really hard for him because there was just so much traffic to try and run through. I mean, he basically had what Maxi used to have in that you'd finally get the ball in the final third and there's 4 people in the way.
Yeah.
He needs a bit more space to do stuff. He was okay. 3 out of 4 ground duels. He's been a lot better physically since he's come back. Actually, I'm quite happy with that. Is because normally we'd get the odd good physical performance and then a bad physical performance, but it's been a few games in a row where the physicality's kind of been there, which is really nice to see. Really not the right game for him. This was a Callum Wilson game. You need a Callum Wilson in this kind of game, not Isak. You need the reverse because there was just no space. You need Isak for. Yeah, I need to give him a number. No idea.
That would help, Alex.
Not a clue. I'll give him a 6, I guess. I think that's generous, but I think a lot of it's not necessarily his fault. Yeah, maybe. In fact, I'll go with a 5. I'll drop it down a little bit. I'll go with a 5. He played an hour. He's getting fit again, so.
I'm going with a 4. I just think he was. But again, I don't think it's his fault. I mean,
it's the wrong game for him completely.
Yeah, we're not playing to his strengths.
3 enormous centre halves, and he gets the ball, and he's got like that many players around him.
Yeah, but we're just not. I don't know. We're not playing to his strengths, and he's completely isolated at times. Billy.
Well, let's put the real kind of facts on it. He got kind of put in the pocket of a 37-year-old man who has a turning circle of the space shuttle. Let's be honest. He didn't get any service, that's true. But for 63 million quid, you should be able to go get the ball and do something yourself against, a lower league 37-year-old. Of course you should. He's coming back from injury, of course he is. But I'm going to give him a 4 also.
Okay. Where did the space shuttle come from, Billy?
Turning circle.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume that the space shuttle in full flow could turn quite quickly.
I don't know. I think a person can turn quicker.
Okay. Right. Let's go. Let's go to the substitutions. Now he made 3 at once. Miggy came on, Miley came on, and of course Harvey Barnes came on. So we'll rate them, all 3 of them. Billy, we'll start with you. If you can rate Almiron, Miley, and Harvey Barnes.
Almiron changed the game for me. His enthusiasm, his forceful running is very aggressive. An assist, 8 out of 10, no doubt about it. Miley was very bright also. Very good in the ball, very aggressive, got himself forward. I'll give him a 7. Harvey Barnes was a dog shit. I'll give him a 3.
I've gone with exactly the same. 8 for Almiron, 7 for Miley, and a 3 for Barnes. Barnes, I want to see much better from Barnes, and I know he's got it in his locker. But again, I did see a comment earlier on in the show saying you have to remember Barnes played in a very counter-attacking Leicester side most of the time. But let's be honest,
he had a full pre-season with us. Well, half a pre-season with us.
I want to see more. Yeah, I want to see more. I think there's a lot more to come from Harvey Barnes. Alex?
Miggy gets a 7. He got the assist, which is great. 4 out of 5 duels. He's obviously been shouted at. Pass the ball when there's a player in a good position. That's what I liked about the goal. He got his head up 3 weeks ago. That is exactly what he should have done. We'd have had an extra 7 or 8 goals this year if Miggy had have learned how to do that before yesterday. And he's been in the position to do it. And it was a breath of fresh air. He needs to do that more.
And there was a section in that second half, Alex, where he made 3 tackles to win the ball back in the space of literally 10 seconds, which was absolutely outstanding. So he did really well.
So 7 for Miggy. I thought that was solid. And I think he's basically solidified himself a start on Saturday because obviously Murphy was pants. Miley gets a 7 as well. I thought Miley was really, really solid. A couple of times where he passed the ball out of play because people either stuttered a run or something. Just a bit of a misunderstanding, I guess. But he was solid. Physically was okay. It was a difficult game for him. He's whether it's rough and tumble teams from the Championship, the Premier League, or Champions League, he's managing. He's learning. He's learning on the job really quick. His physicality is solid. He's not being bullied, which I really like. So 7 for Miley. And a 1 for Harvey Barnes. It was absolutely. I don't know how you've managed to give Murphy a 1 and Harvey Barnes gets 2 points more. No, Barnes was a 1. He made 6 passes in an hour, no accurate crosses, no dribbles.
Excuse me, I didn't give Murphy a 1. I gave him a 4.
Thought you gave him a 1.
No, Billy did.
Yeah, no.
I Barnes more because he had that one shot, didn't he? Where he come in and just put it over the bar, didn't he? What a bad effort.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
1 out of 6 ground duels. He lost everything physically. Well, he won one thing physically. It was just not 2 offsides. It was just not even close to being remotely good enough for what we need. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He probably needs another month just to, although we're running out of season. But yeah, Willock, Barnes, players coming back. They need a bit more time.
Yeah. Right. Who was the other? So was it just Anderson or no?
It was Livramento on 91 for Trippier. And
Livramento was brilliant last night when he came on. I'm giving him an 8. Billy?
Thought he'd better going forward than he was defensively. I'll give him a 7.
Okay. Alex?
Yeah, I agree with Billy, but he gets a 7. Better offensively. Needed to. To be fair, it wasn't necessarily his fault, but he'd make runs forward, and then we'd lose the ball, and then it's like, oh dear.
I think that was his instructions, though. I generally think Eddie said, "Go forward."
I would agree.
Let's win the game.
But 3 out of 3 ground duels, 2 out of 2 successful dribbles. He went in there to be physical, to win the ball, and to drive it forward, and he did exactly that. It was exactly what we needed. That was exactly what Barnes should have been doing. basically, is what Livramento did.
Yeah. AH, thank you for becoming a new member of the channel. Welcome to Members Club, and thank you for your support. Now, normally we wouldn't rate Anderson because he came on with basically minutes left, but came on to take a penalty. Now, I'm going to give him a 10. And I'm giving him a 10 for simply the length of time that kid has been out injured, and he comes on and takes a penalty as if he's never been away. It was an absolute quality penalty. And, you know, to have that pressure on his shoulders when he came on to do that, because that's all he came on for, let's be honest, to take the penalty. And he's been out for so long to come into that situation and bury the penalty like he did. Balls of steel. So there you go. Billy?
Yeah, the fact he didn't even touch the ball. So the first touch of the ball he's had in, how long? 6 months?
Yeah.
Was a crucial penalty. And to have the bottle to do that at 21, 22 years of age, it's phenomenal, really. Yeah, I agree. I think he deserves a massive mark. 10 out of 10, why not?
Alex?
Yeah, Anderson gets a 10. He made 0 touches in open play, 0 passes. He didn't really touch the ball. He didn't do anything, but then came on. The kid is 21, 21 years old. Pre-season, he looked like a first-team absolute unit. He was winning us games on his own at the end of matches. And he's come back after that long out with a broken back, scores a penalty straight away. He's 21. So we talk about age. He's playing like he's 20, 27, 28. He's playing like a senior pro in that first team. Absolute 10. The bottle and the audacity to come on and be Miley got taken off for that reason. And Anderson gets trusted. So he's obviously very trusted. And I don't want him to declare for Scotland, because I think once he gets a run in the team, give him a season or two. I
don't know what you heard before he stepped up to take the penalty. But quoting Mr. Billy Bob from last night, he said if he scores, he's English. If he misses, he's Scottish.
Well, he's just great, though. His physicality, his footwork, his professionalism. Penalty. He's learned different positions in the game already. He's only 21. Like, it's so impressive. It's so impressive. King Hodder, I don't care if Sar's 21. Your lot get talked about all the time. Ours don't. Nobody talks about Elliot Anderson in the general media. It gets completely overlooked. People talked about Miley a bit because he got Champions League minutes. Anderson just gets completely overlooked, and he is really impressive.
Clarky makes a good point there, saying Anderson reminds me a little bit of Ross Barkley.
Yeah, a little bit of vibes there.
Same kind of build, same kind of...
kind of player,
really. Yeah,
he looks in the face.
Yeah.
And he's only contracted until 2026. So at the end, in the summer, he's got 2 years left. We need to whack another 5 on that straight away.
And finally, the manager, Eddie Howe, Billy.
I think his players let him down last night. I wasn't happy with the selection, but he proved right with that. With Dubravka obviously winning us the game. So, I mean, the substitutions worked to a T, apart from Barnes. I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I've gone with a 7, and it might have been a little bit higher, but I'd just like to see him make the changes earlier. I mean, it was clear 10 minutes into that second half, nothing was changing. And, we were all, again, saying, just be a bit more ruthless, make a change at half time. But he wasn't. And again, he waits till the same time. It's like the 65th minute before he makes a change. It was clear to all of us that it needed a change earlier than that. He probably wanted a response in the first 5 or 10 minutes of that second half to say, right, we're gonna up the ante here. We're gonna put it in a little bit more. And it didn't happen. And when he did make the substitutions, it did happen because Miggy obviously was a big part of that game changer. Miley was getting himself forward. So they did work to a degree.
Well, you got a good comment over there. That's absolute nonsense. We're not turncoats because we're rating him high. We're rating him on the result and the things he did. And at the end of the day, he brought Dubravka in for Karius when everyone wanted Karius in, including us, and he's won us the game. So his selection was right.
And by the way, Tristan, I've never once said I want Eddie Howe out. If you've watched every single show that we do, I've always said I want Eddie in, and I want him to become a legend at this club. So don't you dare come on here and call us a turncoat.
I'll criticise him we'll criticise him when he does things wrong, and that's not. I don't think he
absolutely. And we said very early in the show tonight that the players need to take a bit of responsibility because the team he put out was easily good enough to beat the struggling Blackburn Rovers side. God Almighty. Anyway, Alex.
I'll go bang in the middle for a 5. I liked the Willock and Isak starting. I thought the centre halves and the height was a good choice. I think we set up okay. Obviously, Dubravka worked, but I agree with Billy to a point. They definitely let him down. There's a few players let him down there with sloppy passes, not getting involved enough. I think I'll have to go bang in the middle there because there were a few positives, a few things that worked, and a lot of things that didn't work. I really wanted us to be a lot better in the second half than we were because they had the half time to try and fix it, to explain to the squad, to explain to the players, and try and sort it out. But I'll go right in the middle with a 5. I think there was some good and some bad in there.
So absolute negative Nelly. Absolutely negative Nelly.
Yeah, I've just gone with a 6.
Eddie is 6. So we've gone 5, 6, and a 7. So I mean, look. Unbelievable. I mean, the amount of times I get slagged off for being negative and then I give him a 7 and then I get wrong for being positive. You can't win.
I think what people have to remember with ratings as well is we rate people based on 0 to 10, whereas most of the English media, for some reason, I think it starts at 5.
4,
they start at 5
like that,
and then they go up to 10. There's it's ridiculous. Whereas we're quite happy to go between 0 and 10 with a player. So for a 5 to everyone might seem quite low, but a 5 is actually bang in the middle in my head. Like I don't get this whole rating only on half the scale. It's ridiculous.
Samir, thank you for your super chat. Cannot wait to see Tonali and Big Joe back in the middle. Yes. Absolutely. Cannot wait. Right. There you go. That is the review show done and dusted. We are back tomorrow night again at 7 o'clock as we now look forward to the Premier League again and the visit of Wolverhampton Wanderers to St James's Park on Saturday. That is a 3 o'clock kickoff. But we will be back at 7 to preview the game, look at the possible lineups, tactics, and of course, as usual, look at the opposition, how they've done lately. That's a possibility, yes. But those of you who don't know who he was somebody who kept making silly comments. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your super chats and memberships. Thank you. I'm coming to it, man.
Well, it's wrong anyway because it's Gordon.
Thank you to... No, it's not Gordon, Alex. You can't give Gordon man of the match after Dubravka.
What, for scoring a goal and another goal in the penalty shootout?
Yes. Because if it wasn't for Dubravka, we would have been out before Gordon had even scored. However, this is how the results happened. Dubravka easily man of the match with 96% of the votes.
Jesus. It's because you didn't put Gordon in there.
Will you shut up? 2% for Bruno, 2% for Almiron, and 1% for Miley. So,
how does that work? It's 101%.
YouTube's had a bit of a mare there.
Yeah, it has. Just ever so slightly. but there you go. New things happen when you're live. So out of 101%, Dubravka wins on 96. So there you go. That is the end of the poll tonight. But thank you to the mods. But thank you to you guys out there. You've been absolute legends yet again. Thank you for spending your evening with us. And we will see you tomorrow night for the review at 7. Keep your eyes open for any video or early live show in case any news breaks from Newcastle United. And I'll bring you that through the day. But from me, Alex, and Mr. Forsyth, it is good night. Take care.
Nothing repair, not in this game.
Come back and check out some green.